All right, if you could tell us a little bit about the space and your role in it.
So this is Up Makerspace. We opened up as a makerspace a year and a half ago now. And we opened it with the idea of becoming a nonprofit and membership-based worker space for artisans, tech heads, makers of all kinds. We have discovered that since the way that we opened, we were kind of piggybacking off of our corporation, our other businesses are under. We've found that going nonprofit doesn't really benefit our space, especially since we also have a retail section. And having a board of directors, and there'd be too much conflict of interest potentially popping up, since we're kind of piggybacking off of our other businesses to run the makerspace. But I do believe nonprofit or B Corp is a great structure for makerspaces and a great way to involve others and keep them involved. I think if it's a nonprofit, people are probably more inclined to feel like they're making it something, whereas our business model doesn't quite fit that. And some people care, some people don't care. But I think in general, mostly what I find is a maker wants to make, and they like to have a space they can go. So we do have a little bit of a market here for the makers to come in and work along happily.
So you guys run as a LLC?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah. And if we ever wanted to divide that, which still might be down the line, we would have to work out the retail section as a different entity within the space, I think. So there's ways to get around it. But.
And then how long did it take you to start the space? Was it an idea that was fermenting in your head in years, or what?
Right. No, actually, a couple months. The idea came up, and we had the equipment, and we were running as a shop anyway. We had the space, so the idea popped up, and we just kind of did it. Moved all the stuff, built some tables, ordered and built 3D printers, and opened the doors.
So how does membership work here?
So we have a few different tiers. We have the free membership. Basically, you can come in, use a hammer, use the tools, the tables, none of the equipment, and you don't get membership prices or deals on any of the kickbacks that our members get, but you can sit here and hang out with our members and operate a hammer if you want.
And what are the hours on that?
We have our public hours. We're Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 5:30, closed on Sunday and Monday. So then the membership that most of our makers sign up under is a $60 a month membership. That gets you in here and in the wood shop. You can use all the equipment we teach you for free. The safety, we don't really sit down and teach you how to set up your files necessarily, but we teach you the safety of operating the equipment and let you know the lowdown on that so that you can come in and use it on your own. We do have some membership costs, like the laser, 60 cents a minute that the laser's operating for our members. If you're not a member and want to come in and have something done on the laser, you can hire us to run the job for you, and we charge, I believe, $1.20 the laser operation for non-members. So we do get a lot of people in here who just want services done, and we let them hire us out and we run the job for them. But to touch the equipment, you do have to be a member and have a signed contract. It's just for the liability. Wood shop, we don't really have any time costs on the wood shop. Saws, the CNC we charge per minute. 3D printing we keep cheap. That's 75 cents an hour that the 3D printer is running, plus filament cost. Yeah, and we offer discounts if you sign up 3 months at a time. We renew the membership automatically every month, so you just give us your credit card once and it automatically renews until you tell us to stop. People come in, and we're kind of honor system right now. Hopefully we will at some point have cards that you will run your card to launch the equipment, and it will track your time for your profile. But right now we're just on our system. People come in, fill out their little card or sheet of paper for what equipment they were using, how long, if they took any materials that we need to charge them for. And they stick them in that jar right there. And we charge your card when we feel like it. That way we aren't running, a bunch of $2 charges on people every day. We kind of let them stack up and go through it every few weeks.
All right, and there's a 24-hour member access for certain members, or?
There is. You can get a key for $20 extra a month. We have you sign your all-access membership. It has a couple different rules, like not propping the doors open and not bringing a bunch of friends in here to hang out. We don't allow members to bring their kids here after hours. Things like that. So they sign off on that and they get a key. And they can come in whenever they want.
All right, and what's your membership size right now?
We vary. It's kind of plateaued at anywhere between 35 and 60 with the waves of people coming and going. We get a lot of people who will cancel for 2 months at a time because they know they're not going to use it during that time, be it vacation or just no projects in mind. And then they sign up for another 1 month after that because they have a project to do. So we don't have a huge membership base right now, but we do see a lot of new members coming in still and then leaving and then coming back and then leaving and coming back. It just depends on what kind of projects they have on the back burner.
And so you have a classroom. What kind of classes do you offer? And are they for members or general public, or
We
what?
do both, and we actually we encourage all of our members to teach classes and hold meetups. We use meetup.com a lot to get people in here doing free workshops for Arduino, or just coming in and talking about these things that anybody wants to talk about. So that's open to public. We advertise on Facebook and Meetup to get people in here for that. And we've had pretty good luck with that. One of our members on Sundays was doing Soldering Sunday. So he'd get, a dozen or 15 people in the classroom, set them up with soldering stations and bring scraps of free things for them to just solder. I do painting with Bob Ross. I like to queue up Bob Ross on the projector back there, and we try to follow along as close as possible. That's actually been pretty good hit back there. I haven't done it in a couple months. I should do it again. But that brings in some people, and I do charge for that one. I tell people, bring your own painting equipment, paints, canvases, brushes, and you can bring your own stuff and sit in there for free. Donation recommended. Otherwise, you can buy stuff from the makerspace. And I'll sell canvases and paint and whatnot. So there's painting, there's Fusion 360 classes. So we set up computers back there and to learn about Fusion 360. Last summer, we did a series of summer camps. So it was a week long. Middle school age children would come in here, and one day would be all about laser cutting and getting on Inkscape and creating your name tag, which we engraved and cut into wood. But they make them themselves. And then we do one day on the CNC, one day with 3D printing. They get on Fusion 360, and these kids design their fidget spinners and 3D print them. And it was pretty fun. A lot of work, but the kids enjoyed it. Other classes, I think that's all that we have going on lately. Can't quite think of other things that have been in there. The lights turn off, you get to dance. There we go.
All right, and so now if you could maybe a little more detail describe the how you started as a puzzle business here, and then how you shifted over, and how the decision was made, how many people, the structure of the difference between the two, like who's in charge of what, how that's all separated or connected in any way.
Right, it's kind of a puzzle in itself. So the puzzle company, we started that in 2003 in Long Beach. in our tiny little apartment. And over the years, we've been in and out of our house and flex spaces in Garden City down here as we moved back up to Idaho. And so when we found ourselves here, it used to keep us busy. We were running our equipment full time just for puzzles for many years. And then as the 2008, sometime between 2008 2013, the economy just kind of tanked and our business went way down with it. Puzzles weren't a fad. People weren't spending their extra money on toys like high-end custom jigsaw puzzles. So we weren't using our equipment nearly full time. And that's when we decided to, when my husband decided to do the makerspace. Like, okay, let's give that a try. Expand, open it up, get people to come and use the equipment. And so right now the structure of it is basically he is doing all the makerspace stuff, I guess it is. Pushing classes, organizing things, trying to get projects that bring people in here. He's been putting together little kits that he sells, like building your own laser pointer. So he 3D prints the casing and designs them, sells the kits, and will potentially run classes where you come in, you get a kit, and you build it here for birthday parties and whatnot. And we do, you can hire us to run events for you. We do engrave your own flask night and stuff where people come in and we give them a flask and show them how to design something online, or they can just download a picture online, or they can design it or hand draw, and then we engrave it onto their flasks with the laser. And so he's kind of heading up all that stuff right now. I come in a couple times a week and fill the jigsaw puzzle orders, and I use the makerspace more like a member would these days for my stuff. And I help him with things when he needs it. But right now I've been kind of putting my focuses out in the world more and coming in here and running the puzzle stuff. So there's a little bit of a divide there, but it's still linked. We work together and apart.
And so the two are complementing each other well enough right now?
Yeah, I mean, they really don't operate on the same page at all. So it's kind of just like the puzzle company is using the space as a business itself. So right now I would come in here and be like, this is a makerspace. And I run my business out of the makerspace. Is kind of what it feels like. Most of our members don't even know that we run a full-time puzzle company out of here.
So do you offer that potential for other businesses to start up and maybe begin in this space?
We do. As long as they're, paying their membership dues, they can come in here and use the space for their meetings, creating their products, shipping out using our shipping stuff. We are okay with them as long as they have their business address is not our address. But they can use this space for creating whatever they need to and holding meetings if they need to. They can reserve the classroom. They just have to have their business address elsewhere.
All right, and so is there anything else about the operations of the space that I haven't asked that maybe you can offer or share?
Anything that are kind of unique? No, I mean, I think we covered everything, really.
All right, and so now, usually when I go around to spaces, I follow up with a question that is, essentially, are there any things you're curious about learning from other spaces as I shoot these videos and upload them to YouTube?
Right, I think knowing how they've reached out to their public communities in a free way is always good to know. I do believe that it takes a year to 3 years to get a business going, and we're right in the middle of that right now. So we do have our Facebook page, and we do the free meetups, and we hit Boise Weekly, which is Boise's news. You find all the music and the weekly calendar of events and everything in there for Boise. Our weekly publication. So we do advertise through all those venues and Craigslist even, but it's still kind of hard to reach the right kind of people. I find that makerspaces attract a certain kind of person, and sometimes that certain kind of person stays inside a lot.
So have you come up with any other ideas or things that you're looking to attempt to resolve that question yourself?
Not lately. I still kind of feel like social media is the way to go, largely, and making a presence in the community. Like I've said, we've set up at craft fairs and whatnot, and just talking to people. To talk and talk and talk gets people in the door. So if you have the right kind of people out there who are passionate about maker spaces and being a maker and telling other makers where they can go, I think that helps. Other than that, I haven't gotten real creative.
The two answers to that question, which are questions in and of themselves, are things they're looking to learn from other spaces. I pass on to other spaces is, one of them is, how do you handle burnout?
Burnout is like running the space.
Running the
getting burnt
space,
out.
management, the day-to-day of trying to get a space to work. How does because a lot of spaces, and it's not as common with the LLCs as with the 501c3s, is you see a tendency of spaces to use the staff like consumables, like sandpaper
Right.
for the sanding equipment.
Well, so we're since we're a little bit different, it is just my husband and I running it. In the beginning, we were open 8 to 8, 6 days a week, and then I think 10 to 5 on Sundays. We did that for a handful of months, and there was definitely burnout, but we were trying to test the market, see when people would be using the space, so we felt like we had to have somebody here all the time to learn that. And what we learned is we really didn't need to have somebody here all the time. So now we've cut our hours way back. And what I do personally, when I start feeling burnt out on just my brain being full of work, I dedicate a day in here where I just make. I pull out my paints and I paint and I make stuff, or I get on the pottery wheel and throw some clay, and I don't think about work. I'll answer the phone and give tours as people come in, but I set aside time to make things, and that helps a lot.
All right, and the other thing that has come up as a question is people are curious to see, aside from the advertising, which is something other places have asked about too, but how can spaces benefit and improve the communities they belong to?
How?
So what ways do other spaces do that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I haven't seen a whole lot of it in Boise yet, but I think running the after-school programs and inviting kids in, which is kind of difficult because a lot of times you'll have members in here and they don't want kids around. So you have to be careful about that. But I do feel like that benefits the community when you can get, teenagers in here learning these things and having a place to go that's not boring for them to potentially get them in trouble. And then working together with the other maker spaces and holding community events is a grand idea that so many people in Boise have started to collaborate on, but has yet to actually take off. Like doing maker fairs where all the maker spaces can come and set up and do fun stuff. So I'd like to see those things take fruition a little bit more. And I think that would benefit the community just because, like I said, the idea of makerspace is pretty new around here. And so I think going out into the community benefits the community by letting the community know that we're here and that they have a place they can go and learn how to use a laser, learn how to use a CNC.
So how have you handled having kids as access to the space? Is there there's always insurance concerns
Right.
with that kind of thing, and how do you get do they have access to using the equipment? Do they have to be chaperoned on anything they do in the space, or?
So far in here, we've been kind of lucky. We haven't had a whole lot of youth wanting to sign up as members. The handful that we do have, their parents have to sign up and then add them on. And if they're very young, you know, like 16 and younger, we ask that the parents are here with them. Well, we require it because we're not babysitters. Other than that, if they are a mature teenager who we trust in the shop and seems to hold their own and we get to know them well enough, we are okay, do the dance, we are okay with them coming in and working once we get to know them and have an idea of their maturity level. So it's kind of, we don't have any real regulations. When we were doing the summer camps, we kept, the bulk of the day was inside the classroom, and then we didn't let them run the equipment, but they got to come and watch us run the equipment and watch their stuff being made on the equipment. So there are things to consider as far as having kids in here go.
And your insurance is okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, our insurance knows that we have a handful of people coming in here using equipment, and they know what our equipment is. They all sign a waiver, and our insurance knows.
Okay. So, unless there's anything else that has occurred to you, that's everything I can think to ask.
Our insurance was actually really funny. They gave us the biggest stink over having kilns in here. That was the hardest thing for our insurance to cover, which to me was kind of strange. So, like, we have saws and stuff, lasers.
Alrighty. Well, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.